What we're going to do here is we're going to show you how to add and subtract decimals. So we'll start with adding decimals. We'll add these two decimals up here together first. So we'll add 9.354 and we'll add that to 0.437. Now there's a reason why I lined them up, because when it comes to adding and subtracting decimals, you want to make sure you add them all up, so line them all up. So what I mean is the thousands are lined up, the hundredth are lined up, the tenth are lined up, and the ones are lined up. And all you have to do is start from the smallest unit, which in this case would be the thousands, these ones right here. You start by adding those up, which is 4 plus 7, that's 11. So you put down 1 and you save 1. Then you go to your hundredth, so it's 3 plus 5, that's 8. You've got one additional one, so it's 9. Then you've got 3 plus 4, that's 7. Put down your decimal point. And then you've got 9 plus 0, then that's 9. Right? That's pretty simple. That's all you have to do for decimals. You line them up when you add them, and then you just do your normal addition. So let's try another one, very similar. So 3.54 plus 4.659. Now you might see a tiny difference. I can't line up to 0 at this 9 right here because there's nothing on top of it. But if there's a 4, the last number is a 4 right here. If there's nothing behind it, what that means is there's always, you can imagine there be a 0. So if you want to add a 0, that's fine. There's basically the 0 behind a number that has no other number behind it. So now we can add them up. All we have to do is we start from the thousandth. So 9 and 0, that's 9. Then 5 and 4, that's 9. 6 and 5, that's 11. So we put down 1 and then we save 1. We go from the 10th and we put it to the ones because we've saved 1. So that's 4 plus 3 is 7, and then if we save 1, so that's 8. So this would be the answer for that question. Alright, so let's have a look at subtraction. It works very similarly. So again, we'll line them up. So 3.21 minus 2.11. And now all we have to do, again, start from your smallest unit, which in this case would be your hundredth, these numbers right here. That's 1 minus 1, that's 0. Then we've got, the next would be the thousandth, the 10th, which is 2 minus 1 is 1. Put down your decimal point, and then we go 3 minus 2, and that would be, in this case, 1. Right? So now we've got our subtraction, again, works very similar to addition. It's not too bad. And the last one, again, it's going to be very similar with a tiny difference. So 5.2 minus 5.15. Now you might notice again we have nothing here, but if this number is the last number, then we can just, if we wanted to, we can just add a 0 to it. There's no difference in this, and then we can do the calculation. So when we do subtractions, 0 we can make it because we can't do 0 minus 5, we can make this 10. And then we remove one of these. So 10 minus 5 is 5. I'm just going to put the answer down here. Then 1 minus 1 is 0. And 5 minus 5 is 0. So that would be answer for question 4. Now we're going to go for multiplication of a decimal. And beforehand we talked about subtraction and addition of decimals. Now we're talking about multiplication. So all you need to know for multiplication is you can pretend that these numbers, it's hard to multiply by a decimal. 0.2 can be confusing, but you can just change that into a normal whole number. So if we change 0.2 into 2, it becomes a lot easier to do the multiplication. So so if we do 3 times 2, not 3 times 0.2, that answer would be 6. But the only thing you need to know now is for the answer, the question has one decimal place. Right? So there's one decimal place right here. So the answer also has to have one decimal place. So we have to actually add, at the end, once we've done our normal calculation, we just add that one decimal place in. So now it's not going to be called 6, it's going to be called 0.6. That's your answer for question 1. You just basically do your normal calculation, and then you add in the decimal at the end. Again, same with this. Now, we can, again, it's hard to multiply by decimals. 0.2 times 0.3 can be confusing. We can just change that to whole numbers. So we can change 0.2 into 2, and change 0.3 into 3. So we have 2 times 3, and that will give us 6 again. But now we have to find out how many total decimal places are there in the question. So in the question we had one decimal place right here, which was a 0.3. But we also have a decimal place here. So we actually have 2 decimal places. So the question has 2 decimal places, which means the answer will also have to have 2 decimal places. So I can just add that in. So 0.2 0.06, and I've added, because now I've made sure we have 1, 2, so 2 decimal places in the answer, and 1, 2 in the question. So now I'm right again, right? So do your normal calculation, and then add in decimals afterwards. Now you're going to be asked to multiply by 100, and to multiply by 10, 100, or 1000 is a bit easier, because we know if we multiply it by 10, we move the decimal place 1 spot to the left, and if we multiply by 100, we move it 2 to the left. So basically we have the same answer, we just move the decimal places 2 points to the left. So 0.12 becomes 12, because we've moved it from 0.12. The first move would be, if we move it 1 to the left, it would become 1.2. But we said we move it 2 to the left, so that becomes, so 1.2 times 10 would be 12. Right, so you need to realize that if we have if we're timesing something by 10, we move the decimal place 1 to the left. If we're timesing it by, for example, 100, it would be 2 to the left. If it's 1000, it would be 3 to the left. Right, so just know that when it comes to multiplying by hundreds or thousands or 10,000.